Consistent self-improvement, everybody. You are now listening to American gypC Podcast. I am your host, Classic, and I am here with my co-host,
gypC, and today we have Dr. Craig Wright. He is an Ordained Metaphysical Minister and a Certified Metaphysical Practitioner. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And for those who don't know what that means, can you explain what it means to be a metaphysical minister?
Yes. The word metaphysics means meta refers to beyond, and physics refers to the physical world. So metaphysics is a study of things beyond the physical, or things of a spiritual nature. I'll use an example most people can grasp. If you look at outside of a tree, you'll see the bark, okay, the leaves, the branches. But what's sustaining the tree are the roots. You can't see those. They're under the ground. So as a metaphysician, I study the things that sustain us. And we believe that we are spiritual beings, having a temporary physical expression. Most people think they're physical beings having an aha moment occasionally. But as a metaphysician, we kind of believe the opposite. We are spiritual beings having a temporary physical expression because life is a university of the soul. This is where we learn, grow, face challenges. It's easy to be spiritual when we're not carrying this around. So this is the testing ground. So as a metaphysician, I share information with people about their spiritual roots, okay, their spiritual essence associated with the letters in their name and the numbers in their birthday.
Did you grow up in a spiritual environment, or is it something you grew into as an adult?
I grew up in anything but a spiritual environment. In fact, I was told, you're supposed to do the right thing, you're supposed to help others, you're supposed to be a good human being, but I don't believe in that pie in the sky stuff, okay? When you're dead, you're dead. But you still have to do good, not for a reward, but just to do good. So that's the environment I was raised in. I was preparing to become an engineer. That was my original intent. I showed a good aptitude for math and science in 7th grade, and my parents decided we're going to have an engineer in the family. You know, when you're at that age, they're making decisions for you, right? So I didn't know it, but they were preparing me for what I do now. Math and science all day long, very analytical. I'm able to add and subtract numbers very quickly. But what happened at 21 is I was preparing to go into the Navy to fly aircraft, right? Want to be a jet pilot. My best friend died of a drug overdose, and I wasn't even aware he was using. That changed everything. Okay? For the first time in my life, I began to pray. Didn't know who to. But I was praying, why? You know, I was in why mode. I wanted those answers to the big questions. Why am I here? What's the purpose of life? And if it's this arbitrary, take me now. I've had enough. So in that state of mind, I heard a song. The song was by an artist by the name of Roy Ayers, and it was called In Search of the Third Eye. The song lyrics went, secrets of numbers, secrets of sound, secrets of wisdom will be found. Well, I was in a state of consciousness, a state of mind of why. So when I heard this song, I was drawn to it. This guy seems to know the answers. So I bought the album. I read the cover. This was back in 1972. So you had to buy albums and read covers and put wax on the turntable back in those days. But long story short, that was my introduction into metaphysics. He spoke about secrets of color, secrets of sound, secrets of numbers, and that's what drew me in. I discovered numbers were different from figures. We use figures to count and measure on the physical plane. For example, I have one pen, that's a quantity. But if I look a little closer and I say, big pens are number one, I'm no longer talking about a quantity, but a quality of being the best. Everybody knows what that means. But what people don't know is every number reveals a spiritual quality. 2 is patience. The number 3 is expression. singing, painting, dancing, having a great speaking voice. And you will always appear younger than you are. If the 3 shows up, if you're born in March or December, if you're born on the 3rd, you're always going to appear younger than you are. Keep your ID with you. Why? Because the 3 stands for youth. If Adam was 1 and Eve was 2, 1 and 2 make 3, that's youth. So you have a youthful appearance. 4 is work in order. Nobody likes the number 4. But without the 4, things don't come into physical manifestation. 5 is freedom and change. 6 is responsibility. 7 is faith and wisdom. Okay, classic. You're a number 7. Your month is a 3. Your day is a 1, and your year is a 3. 3, 1, and 3 is 7. That's a symbol for faith and wisdom. So you are a thinker, an analyzer, and your gift from God is your mind. Okay? You're here to not only discover truth, but to share it with others. In ancient times, you'd have been rushed off to the temple and raised as a minister. Okay? When the 7 shows up, it was an honor. It wasn't a kidnapping. They would take the kid from the house and raise him in the temple. And right around 22, 23, they would go out into the world along with their scribes who would write down every word they uttered, because the 7 has that direct connection, that inner guidance, intuition. You're being taught from within, so you're here to share the wisdom and the light. 8 stands for money and power. 9 is selfless giving. That's the last number. After 9, nothing new. 11, 2 1s, 33, that's 2 3s. 45, 4 and a 5, been there, done that. So the 9 stands for endings, completions, and it also indicates the highest form of love, compassion for others. Nelson Mandela was a number 9, born on the 18th of July. 1 plus 8 is 9. That's why there was no bloodbath in South Africa. He would not allow it. Now, gypC, I feel obligated to tell you your birth path number now. I'm going to add 11 to 13. That's 24. That, by the way, is called, I call it the family entrepreneur vibration. So when the 24 shows up.
You said 24. I thought it was a 22.
Well, I just added your month and your day.
Ah, okay. Because I know when 13. Is this the...
That's all I've done so far.
Okay.
I haven't added your year. Okay. We're not out of harmony. I'm sharing information you may not even be aware of.
Oh, yeah. It is definitely information where I'm not aware of.
I really like it.
Okay. When you add the 11 and 13, it gets 24. That's governing. It's called a pinnacle. Familiar with that concept? You have a 2 birth. You have a 4 birth path. 7. You got a 4 birth path. So from birth to age 32, you are under 24, which is family, domesticity, and being an entrepreneur early in life. You may have had like a Kool-Aid stand or something early. The 24 makes you get your hustle on quick early in life. I call it the family entrepreneur vibration. When we add that 24 to your year, which adds up to 25, 24, you're with me on that year? 1 plus 9 plus 8 is 7.
Yep.
25, 24 and 25, that adds up to 49. That's the type of 4 you are. The number 49.
That's interesting.
And many 4s, 4, 13, 22, right? Add 9 to it, 31, 40. You're a 49. Oprah Winfrey is a 49.
That's interesting that there's a type of 4s. I've never heard.
Yes, many 4s, many different 4s. This information, I discovered it. For people who think I made up numerology, no. Numerology has been around 4,000 years. Mm-hmm. Longer than language. Before the Bible, numerology was around. So I just, for some reason, I was called to make a study of this. Like I said, it started with my friend. I had this yearning to know. I picked up this book. The next thing I know, I've got clients calling me, and I'm a numerologist. Never heard of a numerology, had no intention of becoming a numerologist. But classic, I have to say, you know how that goes. Because yes. I'm also a number 7. It's like once we start on a path following something, we dig deep and just keep going and going until you unearth it. So started on a path of why am I here? And the next thing I know, my test has become my testimony. So I'm sharing that with you to let you know 49 means wealth and abundance. That's the number 49. In fact, when you're 49, it comes easy. Okay? So a lot of 49s don't even exert themselves because it's coming in so easy. But I want to tell you, the abundance is meant to be shared with others. Also, when you're 49, and my wife is a 49, all you have to do is look at a plate of food and you'll gain 5 pounds.
Yeah, that's right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. We sit there, we can eat the same thing, and she's fussing at me because I'm a string being, and she's.
Yeah.
No, that's the relationship.
I don't understand it, but that's just how it goes when you're 49. It's abundance, right? Everything in abundance. So, gotta really be careful about what you eat, the type and amount of food that you eat. My wife started something on Facebook called Healthy Eating. So she's, in the salads and juicing and things like that. Oprah used to fight that same battle when she first started. She had this pair of jeans. She would say, "These are my gold jeans," when she would come on the show, and she would get into them, but it wouldn't last too long. But anyway, that's the number 49. And the birth path reveals your gift from the Creator. The name reveals the promise you gave the Creator. So there's a contract involved. Like the prophet Jeremiah, each of us has a contract with the Creator. The birthday or the birth path number, as we just revealed, reveals your major gift. But each number in your birthday is a gift. That 11 is a gift. The month of 11, the number 11 is called the Master Teacher and the Master of Light and Illumination. So one of the gifts the Creator gave you, gypC, is a lantern, right? You're God's light bearer. And you know what God does with his light bearer? He puts them in the darkest place he can find. Not so your light will go out, but so you can illuminate. If you bring a candle into a dark room, the candle doesn't go out, the room lights up. So you're here to light it up, all right? Truth, knowledge, wisdom, understanding. That's the number 11. So you're a writer. Okay, 11s, they write, they don't want to write, they have to write. The 11, you guys are a little younger than I am, but back in the day, we had antennas on our TV, look like rabbit ears. That's the number 11. So you're God's antenna, those two ones, and you can channel information from heavenly spirit and translate it into a form the rest of us can understand. Just like those rabbit ears, put the picture on the TV, you can clarify the meaning God is trying to get to us. It always comes through the 11. Jesus was a number 11. Muhammad, number 11. And these guys had religions form after their experience because they were so enlightened. So you have that same gift. I told you about the 13, transformation. In your year is a 7. The 25, 2 plus 5 is 7. Faith and wisdom. Okay, faith and wisdom. The 25 means success after difficulty. When that number shows up, when you dial 411, you might as well hang up on the first operator that you get. It's not going to work out good. It's not going to work out for you. Because the 25, the 7 stands for faith, but the 25 is really a testing number. You can succeed, but it will take 2 or 3 chances before it works. I don't know why. I studied this. I read this. I'm not making this up, okay? This information, I wanted to share this with you guys too. The different types of 4s and the double-digit delineation, all that information I gathered from Numerology and the Divine Triangle by Dusty Bunker and Faith Gervain. Okay, that's the next step. You guys got the single digits down. That was the next step for me. The number 19 indicates you have come here, Classic, to be a leader of the masses. The number 1, of course, stands for leadership, and the 9 stands for others. So when the 19 shows up, you are here to lead others, to be a leader of the masses. Now, those two numbers are opposite extremes. Okay. Oh, by the way, you guys you'll just have to stop me. Okay.
No, this is great.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
continue. Yeah,
This is just going to keep going and going.
Because, like I said, it's familiar. It's it's familiar, but it's amazing to hear you explain it as well. But yes.
Well, I've done a lot of different tests to find out certain things about my life path and natal chart and things like that. But this is the most interesting reading I've received. Actually,
accuracy as well.
Yeah, it's very different from others.
Thank you. Nobody came to me and said, "Here, Craig, read this. Study this. This is numerology." It's like I was like drawn to it, and now my test has become my testimony, and I'm not letting anybody give. Once I know your name and birthday, I got some information to share with you about why you're here, what you came here to do. Don't check out, okay? Don't check out. God heard the people's cry, and He sent you. He sent you, Classic, to be a leader of the masses. Now, the 1 is one number. The 9 is at the opposite end. Those are opposite ends. The two extremes, the 1 and the 9. So you're going to have experiences of extreme nature when the 19 shows up. Malcolm X comes to mind, born May the 19th. This guy started off as Detroit Red, okay? Hustler, thief, gambler, and ended up one of the most powerful, and still is as far as I'm concerned, one of the most powerful leaders that ever walked on this planet. Okay? He spoke truth to power. That's what 19s do. They don't back down. They have to slip a velvet glove over their iron fist because 19s will give it to you raw. Classic, if you were a bartender, it'd be straight drinks, straight shots. No soda, no ice, just straight shots. Okay? So if they don't want to know, if you don't want to know, don't ask Classic because he's going to give it to you straight. All right, straight up, no chaser. And sometimes the 19, can be very intimidating. All right. It wasn't until I was older and began to study Malcolm X that I realized where he was coming from and his message was true. All I saw when I was a kid was some guy who was by any means necessary. I was like, oh, turn the TV on, oh, yeah, you to death. That's the 19. Very strong, very powerful, very dominant energy, the number 19. Very powerful leadership. And that's why I had mentioned earlier in the show, self-employment's almost mandatory when the 19 shows up. Okay, it's just a little too much to be tied down and told what to do. You came here to give orders, not to take them when the 19 shows up. Okay? So that's kind of what I do, and not only in terms of information about who you are and why you're here. But you can do forecasting with numerology. For all things, there's a season. And you can anticipate what's coming up, what you're going to have to face throughout your life experience using the numbers. I could do an example of that if you wish, or if you guys have some questions at this stage.
You can go ahead.
Do the forecast. Yeah.
Okay, let's roll with it. Okay. The forecast, you add your month and day to the current year. Universally, it's a number 6 year. 2022. 2 plus 0 plus 22 add up to 24. And 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 is the number of domesticity. We found out about the number 6, interestingly enough, as I had so many people come to me and say, oh, is this in the Bible? Is this spiritual? Should we be doing this? Well, information about the 6 is in the scripture. That's where it was coded for all times. The authors of the Bible, it could have been any number of vats of water that was turned into wine. Okay? He had it like that. So why 6? So we would learn about the 6. So if we study that story, it was at a wedding. So there's going to be more marriages this year than there's ever been. Okay, trust me. You can Google that. That's the 6. There was a feast going on. All right. So issues around food are going to come up this year. At the wedding, family was joining together. So people are finally able to get back with their family under this 6 energy. After the pandemic, they're getting back together and joining. But the main issue of the 6 is the rescue. When that water was turned to wine, save the party. Okay? So 6 is rescue others. So it's a year of being responsible, reaching out to the poor, the disadvantaged, being involved in community infrastructure. That's the type of year it is, the 24. Now, to find out what it is for you, we add that your month and day to the number 24. That's the personal flavor that makes it your personal year. So, gypC, we're going to add 24 to 24. Why? Your month and day add up to 24. Right?
Yeah.
So we're adding 24 to 24, which is 48. 4 plus 8 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3. It's a 3 year for you. And the 3 stands for abundance. Socializing, singing, painting, dancing, writing, anything artistic, decorative, colorful. That's the number 3. Okay. I mentioned your birth path to 49, like Oprah. That abundance could come to you this year. Okay. Now that information comes from the story of Christ, of Jesus. He was sought by 3 wise men, denied 3 times by 3 sleeping disciples. We just celebrated Easter because he arose what day? The 3rd day. A lot of 3s there. So when he was asked, "Why are you here? What's your story?" He said, "Hey, I came in to give you life and life more abundantly." So the 3 stands for abundance. Okay, classic. It's your month and it's your year, birth year. But for you, gypC, you're in a 3 year. So expect abundance. So much so you'll be able to share with others. In fact, under the 48 is a philanthropist energy. So it's no question you will receive abundantly this year, but the universe will test you to see if you will bling out or give it to your favorite charity. Help the poor, the sick, the disadvantaged, and children. The 3 always stands for you. So that's your year, 48. Something will turn your mind away from the material world to the spiritual and metaphysical, and you'll be giving and giving and giving. And guess what? The more you give, the more you will receive. That's just the nature of giving. Okay, it's planting seeds. Classic, your month and day add up to 22, which is a master number. All right, 22 is called the master builder and the globalist vibration. So you may have traveled the world by now, since it's showing up as your first pinnacle. It's a 22, maybe through the military, or maybe you just had it like that, right? But the 22 will give you a global experience. So when we add your month and day to 24, which is 2022, we get 46. So it's a number 1 year for you, all right? So the drama is over. 2021, that was the Job year. I don't know if you're familiar with the story of Job. That guy lost everything. So the 9 takes stuff from you. Okay? It's ending. 9 is an ending cycle. So it takes stuff from you, but it's stuff no longer necessary for your spiritual growth. It may be things you want to hold on to. God knows I had to let go a lot of stuff in the number 9 years I didn't want to let go. Didn't want to see go. But that's what the 9 does. So you're through with the drama, past all that. Now you're starting a brand new 9-year cycle, because that's where we go, 1 through 9, 1 through 9, 1 through 9. So you're at the number 1 year, the 46. And the 46 means success, good karma, and you'll have the ability, just through your emanations or your aura, if you will, to persuade others to follow your path. So now it's time to kick it off, to get started. Whatever project you've been thinking about, this is the year to do it. But you got to wait till September.
You said I have to wait till September?
That's the patience. That's the only challenge is patience, tact, diplomacy. So you may be raring to go, right? It's the number 1 year. Let's go.
Why September?
If you add 9 and 1, it's 10.
Okay, so the 9th month.
So September is a number 1 month in the number 1 year.
That's amazing.
That's interesting.
That's double one. That's double one. I could break it down for you. The 9th, 18th, or 27th of September. Whatever you start on any of those dates, it's going to succeed beyond your wildest imagination. Okay, it's just simple math, right? You guys know. You start stacking that number 1 energy up, and you can't lose. So that's triple one. This year is a number 1 year. September is a number 1 month. And those days I gave you will be your number 1 days in September, 9th, 18th, but put a star beside the 27th. That's going to be a day you will remember for a long time. Yeah, I just had my 71st birthday, folks. So I've gone back and looked over my life and different things that have happened to see what was going on that day. When I got my first bicycle when I was 7 years old, what was happening on May the 4th, in 1958? I went back and looked to test it to see. I was my first client. Okay, that's the easy part. When you're a 7, like I am, and class that you're a 7, doing the research and the study, that's the easy part. On the 7th day, God rested. So we like spending time by ourselves with our nose in the book anyway, studying, researching, digging. But the time comes when God says, okay, now it's time to share.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. That's where the faith comes in. I don't think of this as me sharing information in numerology. I think of this as God just using me to pour out the information He poured in me. Okay, so I didn't invent it. I just did a lot of reading and studying. I do have a book out, a great bibliography of fantastic authors that I've read and studied. And the next thing I knew, after I was studying, people started coming to me, asking me, well, how do I do this? And how do I do this? And I shared the information. And the next thing I knew, I had a practice. I had a practice. So it's like finding your niche. Golden time of day.
Okay. Well, when you're ready to sit down and record or the audio version of the book that you're going to do about your story, your life, starting from the beginning of your life, keep me in mind. I'd be interested in asking you the questions to walk.
This gave me a major challenge, right?
You broke up a little bit.
I will definitely keep you in there.
You broke up a little bit. I didn't hear what you said.
You just gave me a major challenge to write another book.
Well, that's why I was saying we could do the audio version first, or at least I can ask you the questions, and then we could, you could take the audio and give it to whoever you need to, to put the book together.
Oh, thank you. I'll definitely keep that in mind.
Yeah, that's a project that I'm working on as well, and I would love to sit down and hear your story firsthand. Awesome.
When your month and day add up to 22, something you write can make it to the big screen.
Okay. 7 months.
The word fill. F is a 6. I is a 9. L is a 3. M is a 4. 6 plus 9, 3 and 4 adds up to 22. That's why I'm saying that. That's why you have that gift. Analyze, research, write, boom. And the universe will give you the media to share your wisdom and your knowledge that you've uncovered.
It's a tough road.
You like writing.
It's very accurate, though.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
The numbers don't lie, as they say. Who knew, right? Who knew?
Well, we were, of course, I can't say a lot of people. I've been aware of it, and even we live in LA. We see the most repeating numbers 222999 on tags and everything, and we definitely pay attention to it. Even but just learning, the meaning, having someone be able to give the meaning of a lot of things. I'm super grateful for that, and even just I can grasp it a lot more because I'm living it, and you're explaining it to me. My wife we know that what you're saying about both of us is it's funny because it's quite accurate.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really amazing. Like
So
I
even
said,
for
I
our
was my first
listeners,
client.
for our listeners,
I just
I'm
got carried
sorry.
away with it.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. I was going to say for our listeners, yes, it is quite accurate. We are celebrating a 5-year anniversary style wedding in September. So, yes, it is quite accurate.
Wow.
Sorry, we asked like
Awesome.
September. What
Yeah,
is
September, like
Bingo.
why September? But yes.
I find our spirit, our essence, our consciousness, that part of us that was created by the word in the image, that the body is a temple for, it always knows. it's trying to get this part of us in sync. Trying to get that part of us in sync. So it's all about, for me, crucifixion of the ego. Arrogance, pride, ego, being willing to submit, to a higher force, a higher being. And as a young black male, the word submit just wasn't in my vocabulary. We have to. It's like you're in an environment, you have to come off tough and hard. It's just the environment that we're raised in. We're an endangered species,
but still loving at the same time.
What I discovered was really the battlefield of the revolution wasn't outside, it was within. That's the battlefield of the revolution. I was a child of the 60s, so we was kind of rambunctious back in those days. We like to burn stuff and set stuff on fire. Okay, and storm buildings and do sit-ins. But it just took 2 bullets, pop, King, Kennedy. Stop the movement. So that's when I discovered, oh, wait a minute. That's the outer plane. We've got to focus in here. The only lasting changes are those that happen in hearts and minds. You can't impose values on people by writing a law. It's not going to work. It may make you feel good. It may say, yeah, we did it. But unless you're focusing within, trying to change somebody on that spiritual level, that cellular level, as they say nowadays, it's just a surface change. So that's why I'm here, and that's why you guys are here, to help facilitate that transformation. Okay? So I've been running the race. I'm ready to pass that baton to the next runners. So that's why I'm here. It's like when I started this, nobody wanted to hear it. People would run away from me. They was like, this guy's lost it. And I said, God, why did you reveal this to me if people are turning away? He says, what's going on? He says, go underground, keep it to yourself. When it's ready, I'll let you know. I'm going to send my leaders to you. You just be ready when the time comes. And that's how it pretty much was for years. But now it's like, whoa. When I started studying numerology, I had to go to the Library of Congress. There were no books anywhere in Enoch Pratt Free Library here in Baltimore that I could find a book on numerology. So I would cut work and go sit in the Library of Congress 8 hours a day. You can't take the books out, so you have to write it down on a card. You give it to them. They will run out and bring the books back to you. And that's when I discovered Pythagoras, who was called the father of mathematics. Remember that? The hypotenuse squared is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Everybody had high school geometry. Pythagoras actually studied in Egypt under the Egyptian masters. So he got credit because they used the written tradition, whereas the Egyptians, they used the oral tradition. Right? You had to be elevated or a certain level to even be admitted into the schools. If you couldn't retain it, it wasn't for you. Okay? So Pythagoras came back. So the whole world gives the Greeks credit. But if you study the Greek literature, they give the credit to the Egyptians. That's where they learn their stuff from. Okay? So I became aware of that. That really turned a lot of things around for me. I began to look at things a little differently, about the stories that we've been told about how history really went down and how certain things that were part of our culture has been demonized and called bad or awful. Or, you know, I really get a kick out of people say, this numerology stuff, is that spiritual? When you just pick up a Bible and that's 40 days and 40 nights, okay, it rained. 40 years in the desert. Yeah. 40 years being 40 days and nights being tempted. Hello.
3 days.
Exactly. Repeating numbers. It's in there. So the 4 stands for order. 0 in the beginning, that's a symbol for God. So folks, whenever you read about the number 40, God is establishing a new order. Every time it shows up in the scripture, and every time it shows up in your day, in your forecast, it's going to be the same thing. It's not going to go the way you think it is. There's going to be a switch, a change, a new order. And that's the value in numerology. That's the value of knowing who you are in terms of the letters in your name, the numbers in your birthday. How is that possible? Well, we were created by the word. And words are symbolized with letters and numbers. Starts in grade school. Teacher says, you're looking around. What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this person? And they say, that's the A sound, boys and girls. Oh. And they got the alphabet all at the top of the room, all around the room for you to see it every day. A, B, C, in the big letters, in the little letters. So they give us symbols for the word. But what I discovered through my studies, if we were created by the word, and words are symbolized with letters and numbers, the letters in our name and the numbers in our birthday are symbols for the word of God that created us. Who knew? So we're carrying around our own our own owner's manual, if you will, and we're not even aware of it. Until today, for a lot of folks who are watching this, now you know.
Yeah, for me it was a few years ago, I'd say 5 years ago. I've never heard of numerology, and the numbers I kept seeing sequences of numbers and patterns, and it was happening all the time. And I was like, okay, and I had to look into it. And that's actually right before moving here to Los Angeles from DC area. And it was kind of a quick move. It was like I just felt like I had to go, and it was around that time. But when we moved here, I just got deeper and deeper into like spirituality and numerology, and I try to like see the patterns, like what each number means in my life, or what is trying to be communicated, I guess, and try to interpret what each number means.
The letters that symbolize the number 7, which is Classic's birth path, are the letters G, the 7th letter, the letter P, the 16th letter, and the letter Y, the 25th letter. And you're a gypsy. All that 7 energy, you're married to a number 7, okay? For me, that's just beautiful. For me, that's like the universe coming together. You know, I just see that. So a lot of people, they say, well, what's he so excited about? But that 7 energy in gypsy is just a beautiful thing, how you guys have found each other. That 11 energy, you will always be in tune. The universe will communicate to you before the rest of us. 11s usually know what's going to happen before the rest of us do. If they're listening. God's always broadcasting. Like right now, my favorite radio station is playing jazz. I just haven't turned the radio on and turned the dial to 88.9 so I can hear it. But God's always broadcasting. So through prayer, meditation, spiritual practices, we can connect with spirit. If you're like me, just some hard-headed jerk who didn't believe in God or anything spiritual, the numbers, okay? You want something solid, something you can grab hold on to? Numbers. That led me to a whole world of spirituality, which I had denied my entire life as being a figment of someone's imagination and a crutch for the weak.
Mm.
Boy, was I wrong. Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, I just thought I was lucky for a while, and then
I also
and then I
found out
started to see.
spiritual energy flows from, let me put it this way, material light, right? The sun rises in the east, sets in the west. That's the material light, the light in the physical world. But spiritual light rises in the west and moves to the east. So people are awakening and spiritually quicker on the West Coast. And then it's moving this way. Okay. I used to call myself the East Coast pioneer. Felt like John the Baptist shouting in the wilderness. I live in Baltimore. I know you guys hear about us every night on the news.
Well, we don't watch the news, but
good for you. That's negative energy.
Yeah.
That is negative. And I try to tell people that the mind is soil, thoughts are seed. Guard your mind. Don't let people plant in your soil. They say, what's this guy talking about? You know? But you guys are, like I said, classic, you're an old soul. So, anybody knows, you know.
She knows. Yeah, the DMV is a different place. It's a different energy from West Coast. I agree, and we moved there from Atlanta, so it was definitely a different change from Atlanta's energy to that energy. I guess such a political, that the bubble of Washington or just the DMV area has a kind of that reflection of the highly political community that's there. And the West Coast has been just a completely different spiritual bubble. Even, like you said, the way you think, how outside of the box you are, I know that had to have been a major challenge coming up, because my parents just celebrated their 70th. And my dad's a carpenter. He knows numbers when it comes to, carpentry work.
Yes.
And
those builders, those masons.
Yes.
They were into the numbers, man.
Yeah, he knows some numbers. Yeah. But even just their, what they know about, the spiritual side of life in general. My dad was recently asked at the 70th birthday, what has he learned, since his 70 years of living. And he's never been a church person, but has always been a spiritual person. At least, he's always been nice. Like you said, you know to do right. That's kind of like you said, you got to do right. But he's never lived in the church or anything like that. Never been fond of church. I'm not even too sure fond of church people, but a great-hearted person, period.
Yes.
But out of the 70 years, he said what he learned was karma is real. And
what goes around comes around.
Yeah.
That's the number 8. When is his birthday?
Was it the 29th? January 29th.
Oh, number 11.
52.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That's the 8 I was looking for. 1952. 1952 adds up to 17. And 1 plus 7 is 8. So yes, he's learned about karma. That 8 teaches us about karma. What goes around comes around.
Yeah.
That's the lesson of the number 8. So I knew there would be an 8 there somewhere. Your podcast, American gypC, is a number 7.
Okay.
American
she's
is
the
a number
gypsy.
1.
Yeah, I'm the American. Well, she's American too, technically, but I would be the American part.
And the word gypC is a 6. So you guys are operating under number 7 energy, which is insight, intuitive knowledge, spirituality, and uncovering information that can benefit others.
Yeah.
Yes.
The light and the dark part.
Yeah.
That's what I like doing.
Even when it comes to information, I'm sure she has a question that she probably don't want to ask you, but I'll ask. Did you learn anything about Tartarians growing up?
About who?
Tartarian?
Or just the old world.
I'm
Or
not
the old
familiar
world.
with the term.
Okay. Yeah, familiar with that. So, yeah, that's something she's looking up. So,
Okay.
I was interested to know, if you had heard anything of it.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
It's just, I guess I've been going into a lot of ancient history and, like you said earlier, things aren't the way they're written. They've been changed, I guess, covered up, and a lot of the architecture and the free energy architecture that is now being used as something else. Really, the word Tartaria, I think it has a meaning in history. Like there is actual people and a place, but it's more of, in a sense that I look at it, it's more of like the old world. It's just a word to explain the old world. And there's a theory about the reset and repopulation. And
people.
some of these buildings, like, for reasons why they can't make sense of some of these amazing structures around
Like the
the
pyramids,
world.
where they
Right.
came from.
Right. And even a lot of these buildings in Europe and around the world, they can't really be built in that way right now. Even now,
Probably some of the buildings in D.C.
yeah, a lot of the stuff in D.C., a lot of the old world
Yeah,
stuff.
they have a spiritual meaning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just a way to harness free energy. A lot of those buildings actually have. There's something to do with water and the way the buildings are structured. Like you see a lot of these cathedrals, which I guess stands for cathode, which is something to do with batteries. Cathode, rel. Just the word itself, and the way, like the circular thing in the church.
It's like
I'm not explaining it properly,
rotary
but
looking glass
like
that's on some church buildings. You know how they have the
Yeah,
stained
the
it has
stained
like
glass.
a flower
Right.
of life looking thing on it. Yeah. So those things, it's a way.
That's where it came from. Okay.
Yeah. The way.
Symbolism.
Yeah. So the
It
way
was
these
like it was
buildings.
almost like before it was used as but before the glass, it was used kind of as a way to, I guess, create
use
energy or
sound, water, and vibration to harness free energy and distribute it to everyone around. So there was a way to
Yeah, could
harness
we
free
use
energy.
that, huh? The gas is $5 a gallon. We could really use that.
Yeah. And
that
that's
thing,
kind of after the reset, it just kind of started to get buried. And now we have this system where we're all paying for this limited resource, which is really not limited. It's just Tartaria just refers to the old world and a lot of the technology that were there that we don't hear about, like the electric cars and the flying boats, or a lot of things that were around. And you see pictures and videos of some of these things as well.
old
I have
pictures.
I don't know where it comes from, but I just have this notion of using lenses. Using not just for glasses, but using huge lenses, not just to look up into the sky, but to magnify the sun. Okay, huge lenses, magnifying glasses that could really heat things up quicker and make us be able to use the sun energy better. And I think that technology existed, like in Atlantis at some point in time. But I'm going to leave that up to you, number 13.
Yeah. I actually just recently did a video about some of these things.
You have special abilities with the land. Special abilities with the land. Mining, farming, building.
So we dug all of these out of the ground ourselves.
Oh my goodness.
Barite crystals. The camera doesn't do it justice. These are magically looking crystals. But yeah, my first time trying what we call the rock hounding or amateur mining, we found a lot of amazing crystals.
That's the 13th. L, as you know, is a 3. I is a 1. N is a 5. And D, land. 3, 1, 5, 4. 13. So that mining, the digging, farming, feeding folks all come under the number 13, 4. And you're 49. Your birth path, 49. 4 plus 9 is 13. So you're definitely an agent of change. An agent of change. That's the 13. Change, release, and transformation. That's what 13s do. So you probably have a green thumb, great garden, and love to dig in the soil. That's the number 4.
Yeah, I was just saying.
Preparing for the garden.
Yeah, we're living in the city now, but we that's one thing we do want is to have a farm. And even like you said, when I got into mining, I was just like, we're going to buy a claim and dig our own stuff and do all of this. So,
follow through.
She's a digger.
Yeah.
Follow through.
Yeah.
You're going to dig up some treasure.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Wright, I know we're kind of on a little bit of limited of time, but I know we're definitely going to invite you back because we have a lot of other questions and things that we would like to ask that I know that's there, but, I still want to, it's probably 2 hours worth of conversation, if not a little more. But we definitely appreciate you, your time, your energy, the knowledge you've shared with us. It's been quite a magical experience, refreshing.
Well, thank you.
Because, as you know, that I guess as an old soul and you see so much stupidity recycle in so many lives, life can get a little weird. In a lonely way, but not quite as lonely, of course. You have my best friend and, a lot of talents and gifts, like you said, to use. I have a long list of things that I have to do, but it's like, I just had to breathe one of my first breathers last year. It's taking a break from music. I'm a musician, grew up a cellist since the age of 5. So
awesome.
Just got that first little breather and kind of recharging to come back, but often get that question from, am I supposed to push this, to share this with this? Because right now the podcast is the newest job, as you can see, the newest self-employed job that I've created or that we've created for us. So before this, I did street performing in downtown LA. So when you say like entrepreneur or working for someone, hey, I'm gonna make this work, and then, so
that's right.
It just it's like I said, the experience, and even just to have you reassure some things about the whole
like a confirmation,
whole journey, definitely a confirmation on the right
path. You guys are very, very special. And I'm saying that because the holy numbers are the number 7 and the number 4. And they're called the holy numbers because they're made up of parts of the cross. Okay, a 7 and a 4 is right there in the cross. And classic, you're a 7, and gypC, you're the 4.
Yeah.
So together, the 7 and 4 is 11, which is spiritual light. So you guys, how do they say it? The sum of the parts is greater than the individual. So together, when you guys work together, it's light, it's illumination. And I don't know where this is coming from, but I'm going to share it because that's what I learned to do. You guys are going to be doing a lot of couple work, showing people how couples work together, marriages, couple. Here's what we do. You guys can do this. I don't know if you guys have any intentions or thought about doing that, but when the 7 and 4 come together, it's about illuminating and lighting the path for others. So it's called the master teacher vibration. So even if you don't decide to have a show about marriage, you're teaching people just by your example.
Thank you.
The 11 is called the master teacher. Whether it doesn't mean you're in the classroom, it means you're the example, the way you walk, the way you talk, what you do. That's what makes the 11 the master teacher. So thank you guys for being a great example, showing folks that we can have successful couples. We can work together in peace and harmony.
Yes. Yes, that is.
So what you guys are building together will make the world a much better place to be.
We appreciate
Also, I want to share this with you. I don't know, you might edit this out.
No.
No.
In this combination, I do compatibility charts. That's one of the services that I offer. And in this combination, it's the kite and the string.
Mm-hmm.
When you encounter someone on the beach flying a kite, it looks so beautiful and peaceful and serene. But there's tension there. That kite is pulling at the string. The wind is trying to get away, and that string is holding it back. And you know who you are, Mr. Kite and Mrs. String. The kite takes the string to places they never dreamed of. String stays on the ground. Kites fly. But the string keeps the kite away from the trees and the power lines so it doesn't get torn into pieces.
Yes.
Okay?
That's a great analogy.
So hopefully that kite will stop complaining so much about string. Imagine being in a car with no brakes. Uh-oh.
Right.
Oh, you can go fast until you come to a curve. So that's the benefit. I just wanted to kind of ease that in there.
We appreciate
that. That was great insight.
But thanks for having me.
Grateful for your wisdom.
I apologize. I know the show would have been going on longer, but I have a client, I'm with that kind of booked me for 8.
No worries.
Yeah, like I said,
I want to share this with your audience. Anyone who sees the program, and if you want to get a forecast for the next 12 months, visit my website, order a 6-month forecast, and I'll give you 6 months for free. But you have to mention this show in the comments. You have to say American gypC Podcast.
Definitely.
To get the 6 months free.
We appreciate that.
Appreciate that. Thank you. We thank you for your wisdom and your time and consideration. And like I said, again, we look forward to talking to you again.
I look forward to that as well. And I'll guarantee I'll put 2 hours aside.
We appreciate that. We appreciate that. Thank you again to our listeners and our viewers and our supporters.
For the podcast, you can find us at AmericanGypC.com. We have all the podcast audio, videos, guest information, and links to our merch at luamlee.com. We have consistent self-improvement merch.
And we also have music at Classic, KLACCIK, Carpenter, CARPENTA. And that's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Tidal, and all major platforms. Thank you again to everyone. Consistent self-improvement and peace.